The silence is the worst part. It settles after the shrieks, a heavy dust of sound that clogs the throat. They carry what is left of Olin back to the caves, a procession of shadows against the setting sun. He was a good hunter, fast on his feet, but the sickle claws are faster. The Utahraptor pack had been a phantom in the long grass, a whisper of coordinated death. They did not just kill. They tested, they learned it. One fine Ted from the left, drawing the spear, while two others exploded from the right. This is the unforgiving calculus of prehistoric life, a lesson written in blood on the reddened earth. For these early humans, survival is a shrinking patch of ground, and the predators are drawing the borders in tighter with every hunt. Inside the great cave, the fire casts dancing monsters on the stone walls. The elders sit, their faces mapped with worry, while the hunters stand, their knuckles white on the shafts of their spears. Old Bor, whose eye was taken by a charging rhino beast in his youth, speaks first. His voice is a dry rasp, like stones grinding together. We move. We find a new river. The sickle claws have claimed this valley. It is the old way, the tested way. Run, hide. His face still smeared with the dust of the failed rescue steps forward. The clan is wasting away, dying not in a great battle, but by 1,000 small cuts. Starvation and predation to jaws of the same trap. We cannot outrun them, Kale says, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. They are smart. They will follow the scent of our weakness. To run is to simply choose a different place to die. He looks from face to face, seeing the same hollow fear in every eye. He sees the future of his people dwindling to a handful of ghosts. We need a fire that walks, a war that bleeds. We need a weapon the sickle claws will fear. Bor scoffs, a bitter, Rapin is that boy. Have you learned to command the thunder, to speak to the mountain? Kale takes a deep breath. This is the moment, the precipice. His idea is madness, a violation of the natural order that governs their brutal existence. It is a spark of audacious thinking that could either ignite a new dawn for their hominid history or burn them all to ash. No, Kale says, his gaze locking with the old man's. I have watched the three horns. The great Triceratops herds. The sickle claws do not hunt them. Even the great tyrant lizard thinks twice. Their hide is a shield, their horns are spears. They are a living fortress. A murmur runs through the cave. He is speaking the unspeakable. To hunt a three-horn is a monumental task, often fatal. But Kale is not talking about hunting. He is talking about something far more dangerous. A full-grown bull is a force of nature. But a young one separated from the herd, if we could cage it, break its rage, it could be our shield. The silence that follows is deeper, heavier than the one that followed Olen's death. It is the silence of a species staring at an impossible choice, born from the desperation that defines the harsh narrative of human evolution. The hunt is a frantic prayer whispered on the edge of a ravine. Kale and 5 of his best hunters track the herd of three horns not for meat, but for a future. The ground trembles with the passage of the adults, walking mountains of muscle and bone. Their target is a juvenile, smaller but still immense. Its horns already sharp, its instincts already lethal. They use fire and noise, a cacophony of shrieks and burning branches, to split the young one from its mother's protective shadow. The bellow of the enraged cow shakes the very air, but the ravine is their ally. The juvenile, confused and terrified, stumbles down a pre-prepared scree slope, sliding into a narrow gorge from which there is no easy escape. The prize for this victory is Mara's leg, gored by a defensive horn as she scrambled away. Her pain is a sharp, immediate reminder of the power they are trying to harness. They work for hours, using woven vine nets and heavy logs to hem the creature in slowly, painstakingly forcing it back toward their camp. They call the stockade the Cage of Horns. It is a testament to the desperate ingenuity of these ancient humans, a ring of sharpened, fire-hardened logs driven deep into the earth, lashed together with every scrap of vine and sinew they possess. Inside, a young Triceratops is a storm of panicked fury. It charges the walls, and the entire structure groans, threatening to splinter into kindling. The sound is a constant, terrifying drumbeat against the clan's fragile morale, ancient and intelligent, burn with a hatred that feels personal. This is no dumb animal, it is a titan in a trap. And it knows who put it there. Beowulf and the elders watch from the cave mouth, their faces grim. They see only a monster brought into their home, a focus for predators, a drain on the clan's already thin resources. The taming is a brutal dialogue. Kale understands they cannot afford kindness. This is about dominance, a lesson taught with the sharp end of a spear. He and the hunters use long pikes, their tips fashioned from the bones of predators, a grim application of their osteodontocratic technology. They jab the beasts, thick hide when it charges, retreat when it charges, retreat when it calms. Then offer it piles of ferns, but only after it has stood still for a full count. It is a war of attrition against a creature of pure instinct. Days bleed into a week. The clan lies with the constant roaring, the smell of fear and fury. Kale's voice becomes a raw asp as he shouts the same guttural commands, linking sounds to actions. Slowly, agonizingly, a flicker of understanding seems to pass. The charges become less frequent. The beast begins to associate Kale's presence not just with pain, but also with food. It is not trust. It is a cold, calculated truce. But from the ridgelines overlooking the valley, other eyes are watching. The Utahraptor packs, patient and cunning, see a clan distracted, its best hunters occupied. They see a cage full of meat, and a people who have forgotten the true nature of the prehistoric world they inhabit. The attack comes not at dusk, but in the flat, grey light of a rain-soaked afternoon. The Utahraptors do not test the clan's defenses, they dismantle them. It is an ambush born of weeks of observation. One pack drives the foragers back toward the caves, their flanking members appearing like apparitions from the wet ferns. Simultaneously, a second pack, larger and bolder, assaults the camp itself. They are a blur of feathers and teeth, their infamous sickle claws see right thing through the flimsy hide barriers. The attack is a brutal symphony of predatory intelligence, and the humans are caught in its crescendo. The hunters, exhausted from their vigil over the caged beast, are out of position. The screams from the main cave are a spur to Kale's heart. He sees the raptors swarming the entrance, trying to get at the elders and children huddled within. Beowulf, the old warrior, stands at the cave mouth with 3 others, a grim, final line of defense. A raptor lunge, and Beowulf shoves his spear deep into its chest, but another tears into his side, pulling him down. There is no more time. The gamble has failed. Now, only the madness is left. The cage, Kale roars, his voice cracking with desperation. Break the gate. His hunters stare at him, their faces masks of terror. To open the cage of horns now is to unleash one monster to fight another in the heart of their home. It is a death sentence. But they are already dead. With a shared guttural cry of despair, they throw their weight against the great lob barring the stockade. Wood groans, sinew snaps, and the gate splinters open. For a moment, nothing happens. The young Triceratops, now a creature defined by rage and fear, stands blinking in the rain. Then it sees the raptors. It sees the fluid, hated shapes that have stalked its kind for millions of years. A deep, resonant bellow tears from its throat, a sound of pure primordial fury. It is not charging to save the humans. It is charging to kill its ancestral enemies. The beast is a living avalanche. The first raptor it meets is not gored, but simply trampled, its body popped into the mud under 4 tons of charging muscle. A second leaps onto its back, claws scrabbling for purchase on the thick hide, but the 3-horn slams its body sideways into the cave wall, crushing the predator against the rock. The dinosaur battle is a maelstrom of violence. Kale and his hunters can only press themselves against the stone, trying not to be crushed by their own weapon. The beast is magnificent and terrifying, its carotid beak snapping, its horns sweeping in bloody arcs. The raptors, so confident moments before, break. Their coordinated attack shatters into individual panic. They flee, scattering into the wilderness, leaving their dead behind. In the sudden, ringing silence, the 3-horn stands panting amidst the carnage, its flank bleeding, one eye wild with adrenaline and pain. It turns its massive head, and that ancient eye fixes on Kale, the protector, the tormentor, Their survival is now bound to the whim of this armored giant, a bloody, unbreakable symbiosis forged in the heart of a storm. From this day forward, the story of this clan of Homo sapiens is no longer their own. It is intertwined with the story of the beast they call Wallbreaker. They feed it, guard it, and guide its rage, living as much as servants as masters. They survive, yes, but their humanity is remade in the shadow of their living weapon. Zoom out from this muddy. Then see this moment for what it is, a terrible, unnecessary birth. It is the first time the human mind dared not just to kill or to flee, but to command the very power that sought to erase it. This desperate gamble, this act of taming a force of nature, is the brutal blueprint for everything that is to come. It is the first crooked line drawn in the grand, audacious story of mankind's ascent, a story that would see our ancestors climb down from the trees, cross the oceans, and reach for the stars, all fueled by that same dangerous, world-breaking idea that the monsters of this world could be made to kneel. Their struggle poses the eternal question of our species. In our relentless drive to control the beasts that surround us, which parts of ourselves do we cage, and which do we unleash? In the shadow of giants, humanity did not just learn to survive, it learned to dare. But along the great salt flat, something even older stirs beneath the cracked earth.